Likutei Torah, Parshas Tazria, page 44, first column. Okay. Okay. Okay, we're going to start like 10 lines in the bottom of the first column. Okay, the Alter Rebbe was saying, he brought down the Gemara that there was an argument between Mesifta the Raki and Hashem, and the din was like this: if the Bahadas, if the leprosy is before the white hair, it's good. If the, then it's tummy. If the white hair is first, then it's tahar. What happens if it's Suffolk? Hashem says tahar, and Mesifta the Raki says tummy. So the decided Rabbi Nachmani is okay. So Rabbi Ben Nachmani said tahar. Okay. So he says why? Because the pasuk says l'tahara l'tamei. The pasuk starts with tahara, which shows if there's a doubt, you make it pure instead of. So he said we need to understand all these miracles that Tanoim and Amiram did through their learning. So he felt like Rav Pinchas ben Yored split split, and same thing with Torah mitzvahs, whatever. So he says we need to understand the expression Kodesh Baruch Hu, because Kodesh l'chayra means removed. Baruch normally means it becomes revealed, right? So he says Keser is a level of, Kodesh is the level of Keser. Baruch is the level of Chachma. And he starts explaining there's two definitions of bracha. Bracha means you are blessed or you are the source of blessing. So basically he says that's the difference between Chachma and Malchus. Malchus is a level of Baruch which is being blessed, the receiving end, and Chachma is the source, which is Baruch, the source of it. Okay, that's what we're basically up to now. And the last thing he said, that Baruch stands for Reish Umbaka Kol Baracha. That Baruch stands for that Reish Umbaka Kol Baracha. What is that? The level of Chachma. Okay. So this is where we're up to now. Okay. 2, 4, 6, 1 second. 8, 10 lines to the bottom of the first column. What?
Baruch is higher than Atta?
No.
You say Baruch Atta.
We're saying to bring down the Atta. It doesn't mean it's higher than Atta. Okay, so he says, why is this? Achen l'mayla mi'achachma. En yochalav l'idei klal b'chinas mamala kol almin. But higher, chachma is also spheres. The chachma is mamala kol almin. Higher than chachma, it's not mamala, it's seviv. Ki en yochalav ibitz galus klali is b'chinas mamala. It's higher than world keser, right? It's too high. It's much higher than worlds. It can't come into worlds. It's only superficially connected. It only affects it indirectly. But also, and it shines behelim. That pnimi and makiv dveikim zebazem. This is where we're up to really. That has two parts to it, pnimi and makiv. They're both the same thing. One just shines internally, one shines externally. As far as the or goes, it's the same thing though. But the difference is, or itself, makiv, cannot shine in a pnimi. Why? Ki godol, it's infinite. And a limited keli can handle infinite gilui. When a keli magbul cloud. But Afa became nevertheless a shine. Like we said, if it affects it indirectly, the fact that it affects it, granted it's indirectly, but it affects it means it does come, it has affected. It does affect it, it does come down to it. Like it says, Chachma ma'ayin timotze, that's what Shlomo Melech writes. Chachma ma'ayin timotzei. Chachma comes from the level of ayin. Because ayin is higher than worlds. Chachma is the first level of worlds. Ki chachma reishes hagilu. Lochein me chachma ve'elech. Shayach b'chinas ishtaushus. Therefore, chachma onward is the yavishtaushes. From chachma comes into bina, into das, and so on. Shabina mekabels me chachma, and from bina nimshel b'midas derech ilo va'olu. Therefore, chachma is called baruch. But chachma mikeser, that's ayin timati shaloi b'derech ishtaushus. That's chachma. It doesn't come ilo va'olu from keser. That's yesh miyayin. Lochein emet timotzi. Timotzi means it happens to be found. Timotzi is passive. Timtza means it's active. Timotzi means it happens to be found. The chachma comes indirectly from keser because it's yesh miyayin. V'gam ha-keser nimshel mi-malchus dein sof, which is only ha'orah v'ziv me'amatul atzmi. K'ziv, k'moshel aziv, just like the ray, ein apel shum shini b'yatzmiyus. The ray of the sun doesn't cause any change in the sun whatsoever.
There's yesh in Chochmah.
Chochmah, according to Hayu, is yesh. According to Bina, it's ayin. Everything is relative. Right? Chochmah is a nekuda. It's not real yesh miyayin, by the way. Because Chochmah is still a spark. From the spark, you make the fire. From the brainstorm, you make Bina. So, in comparison to Bina, Chochmah is ayin, but it's not real ayin. Chochmah from Makesed is ayin. Doesn't say Bina ma'ayin timotzi. V'gam Makesed, okay, therefore he says, Chazal kol ma'kodesh baruch hu, which is higher than Ishtaushus. Okay, that's skip to the end of the parentheses, ace base. So that's what Kodesh Baruch Hu is. Kodesh is removed from world. Baruch can be two levels. It's Chochmah, the way it's Malchus, right? Indirect, now what is Mesifta D'Rakia? Now we see simply means there's a yeshiva in heaven. So you picture the yeshiva in heaven, everybody sitting by desks, and Hashem is sitting there and teaching a class, you know. I don't know if there's Shmalzer. It depends if it's a Sephardic Mesifta or a Ashkenazic yeshiva. Kine Ksiv, the Mus al Reishi, Achayur Rakia Keina Kerach. And he says like this: V'yash chivin tatoin v'chivin iloin. There's higher colors and lower colors. Chivin iloi tato is merkava of biyah. The lower colors, the Zohar says this. The lower colors is the merkava of Bria Yitzir Nasiya, which is Machne Michal, Machne Gavriel, V'arakia Shaura Shehem. That's Malchus, that's Silas. In other words, like this. Again, when you're talking about, like we said many times, Chassidic says in many places, different places. When you learn Chassidus, you need to be able lahafshit hadvarim migashmiyusam. You have to be able to remove them from the physicality, okay? Because they don't mean what we think it means. Light doesn't mean light from a light bulb, okay? When it says that they saw the Merkava, Yecheskel's Merkava, yeah? That we read after in the first day of Shavuos. He saw this, the Chayes, the Aryeh Miyamin, and the Sharbi Asmal, and the Adam. It's not animals up there and people learn, okay? It's a certain spiritual revelation. Now the Merkava of Yecheskel, it says in Chassidus and Kabbalah, was a revelation of the worlds of Bria, Yitzir, and Nasiya. Not Atzilus. It's Bria, Yitzir, and Nasiya. That means Yecheskel, in his vision of the throne, saw levels of Bria. Right, left, Aryeh is Chesed, and this is Gevura. He saw that revelation of, that's what it means. Not that he saw animals up there and they lifting a chair and all that stuff. Doesn't make sense, right? You're talking about Ruchnius. But, okay. So it says the heaven over their heads, that's Malchus of Atzilus. V'chivyan Elohim, but the higher colors, Hema Avis, Avram, Yitzchok, Yaakov, which are Chesed, Gvur, Tiferes of Atzilus, and Rakia out over their heads, that's the level of Bina, like it says in the Zayat. In other words, like this. In the Merkava, he speaks about the Rakia, the heaven above them. So there's a lower Merkava, which is in the world of Bria. What's the heaven over their heads? That's the level of Malchus of Atzilus, which is the Makif that comes down. In Atzilus, Avram, that's the Yud Bei Shvatim that he said before. The Yud Bei Shvatim represents the world of Bria. Then you have the world of Atzilus. The world of Atzilus is the world of the others. There, everything is Batal Telukus. So Avram is Chesed of Atzilus, and Yitzchok is Gvur of Atzilus, and Yaakov is Tiferes of Atzilus. And then the Rakia upon them, because we're talking about Midas of Atzilus. What's the level above them? That's Bina of Atzilus. Because the Midas are born from the Seichel. Bina is the mother that gives birth to the Midas. Right? So the heaven on top of them, again, he says, like it says in the Zohar, and the parts of Shemayim, okay, whatever. It says twice with Shemayim, Hainu Shemayim Eloyin, V'Shemayim Tatoyin, which are the two levels of Rakia. What is the heaven? The heaven is a Makif level. So you have twice in the pasuk Shemayim. So there's a higher Shemayim, which is the Makif of Bina over the Midas of Atzilus. And then you have Shemayim, which is Malchus Atzilus, which is the Makif over the level of Bria.
Where's Chochmah in this? Where's Chochmah in this?
Chochmah is connected to higher even.
Even higher.
Yeah.
Everything in Torah is like that. You know, when Hashem says when the world was created by Dibur, it's not like that. Like Hashem has a mouth and he spoke.
Enochanami.
Yeah.
Enochanami. But even when you learn, yeah. But without learning Chassidus, what does it mean Hashem spoke?
A lot of people think that Hashem really spoke.
That's it. Now let me ask you a question. By Har Sinai, they did hear the voices of Hashem. Differente, yeah, differente.
But in the beginning, it's not like Hashem.
Did they people hear voices by Matan Torah?
Yes, they say.
They saw them, they heard them, whatever. They saw, they heard.
But when we say Asra Ma'amar, when Hashem had.
You think when a Navi gets Nevuah, and the Navi, we have a lot of the Kayamar Hashem, right? Kayamar Hashem, Kayamar Hashem. What do you think the Navi, in the middle of his sleep, heard a speech? Heard voices? The Navi, in the middle of his sleep, when the Neshama is not limited so much by the body anymore, so they're able to receive that level of godliness. It was a revelation of godliness. Put into words is Kay Amar Hashem. But Hashem they didn't hear words, a speech in the middle of the... okay, now, to give a Gashmistic mashal of that, you see a beautiful artistic painting. Okay? It's a painting. There's no words in the painting. Correct? But if you want to describe that painting, you put it into words. There's a heaven and the beautiful greenery, or whatever the picture may be. Yeah? Now that means, or as people even use the expression, the picture talks to me. You ever hear people use that expression?
It sings to you.
Huh?
It sings to you.
It sings to you, okay. But with normal people, it talks to them. Yeah, it talks to them. What does it mean? The picture talks. It's different language. When you say, like we say, a big heart, doesn't mean a generous person, you say, has a very big heart. Big heart, you're a dead person. Can't have a big heart. Or deep mind, doesn't mean it's 30 feet deep.
What does it mean that by Hibor? Hashem said by Hibor, or it was a revelation of...
The revelation of that Gilui of Or that put into words is Yehi Or. Now, when you have a seichel, let's say you have this feeling could be easier to understand. I have a feeling. I love somebody. Yeah? Now, in what language do you love?
Farsi.
Doubt it. What language does somebody love in? It's not a language. Okay? It's like seichel. What language is seichel in? You can express the same seichel in 20 different languages. Even the same language, you can explain the same seichel. People explain it different ways. Okay. So what language is that intellectual concept in? What language do you love in or fear in?
It's not a language.
It's not a language. Okay? Therefore, kids that don't speak even still love and fear. Okay? Because it's above language. Now, if you want to reveal that love or that intellectual concept, so how do you reveal it?
Your credit card.
Either a credit card, yeah. Right. Either your intellect is through thought or speech or action. How do you reveal a feeling? You either think about them, speak about them or to them, or an action. You give them your credit card. That's action. But that's a manifestation of the midah. But the midah itself is, now when the pasuk says, Yehi Or, it doesn't mean Hashem said Yehi Or. This revelation of Hashem to be able to create light is Torah, not modern Israeli language. Torah Or is Aleph Vav Reish. That means this revelation of godliness that represents light is revealed through the letters Aleph Vav Reish. Now, you can have two words that have the same language in a different order. Like for instance, Aleph Beis is Av. Beis Aleph is Bo, come. Okay? It's two different things. One thing has nothing to do with the next. But when you have numerical values and you have acronyms, right? Like it says, Baruch over here is Rosh Umakar Kol Bracha. It's not even in the right order, right? So the fact that Aleph Beis and Beis Aleph are the same letters in different, there is some connection between them. Because it's both through those two letters, and those two letters only, the only difference is it's in a different order.
So how did Adam become an expert in this?
That was a chachma that Hashem gave him. How did he know how to rub two stones together to create fire?
So how much further?
He didn't go on Google how do you start a fire?
Not by Google.
Yeah, he didn't go into Google say how do you start a fire?
So those thunder and thing for Matan Torah didn't happen, there was no thunder?
No, by Matan Torah the pasuk says there were voices that they heard from heaven. They heard voices from heaven.
So it was actual.
By Matan Torah the Torah says, as the pasuk Eimeh creation Reipshut over there means simply that the Jews heard it. Kol Gadol Lo Yosef is a very powerful voice, the pasuk says.
Everybody heard it.
Yeah, even you, in the sleep.
All in one utterance.
Mm-hmm.
Hashem said,
Well, the Medrash says Hashem said all 10 in one shot, then he repeated the first one, then the Jews said to her, it's too much for us, you speak. I'll call Dibur Parcha Nishmasa. That means every word that came to Medrash said, the Gemara says, in Shabbos, every word that came out of Hashem's mouth, and Shabbos popped out of the body, Hashem had to resurrect him with the dew that he's going to need Chesed Mason with.
so that means it was higher than creation, because in creation it was a revelation. Over here it's just a
The essence.
direct word.
Correct. That's what? Yetzias Mitzrayim is even greater than creation. Why do we say, Anei Hashem Elokecha she'tzisicha me'eretz Mitzrayim? So all the Mefarshim ask, why doesn't it say Hashem barasi Shemaim v'aretz? They ask, why does it say, I'm God, the God of Egypt, say, I'm God that created heaven and earth? That's more powerful. So the Mefarshim answers simply because this they saw and this they didn't see. Creation they didn't see, this they saw with their own eyes. But Chassidus explains, creation is a bedibur, a small gilui, which is nothing. And Matan Torah, V'ayt Aniv L'ay Malach Aniv L'ay Yisrael, V'atzma Tov Baruch Hu was revealed in Matan Torah about Yetzias Mitzrayim. So Matan Torah is much more connected to Yetzias Mitzrayim, which is a Gilui, Aniv L'ay Malach Aniv L'ay Yisrael, is much closer in connection than the spit in the ocean. But again, we have to understand, we're not talking about physical entities. There's a yeshiva up there with nice new desks. You know, each desk has a computer, and they're learning in the yeshiva, and the Eibishter is giving a class, and they're taking notes on the computer and AI, and that's not what it means. So the Rebbe is explaining, what does Mesif Rekia mean?
Creation, God, Hashem made the whole world and everything. How can it be higher than, how can Matan Torah be higher?
Higher than what?
Like higher
It's a much greater revelation than creation. Creation took one word from Hashem's mouth. One word compared to the power of speech is nothing. You're legal in Parak of Tanya. But you're talking about a much greater level here.
creation, Hashem made
The whole world with one little word. That's why the world is not even worthy of being worried about. People worry too much. The world is nothing. But we have to understand, we can't picture things like, or the pasuk says, Hashem says, this is what Hashem said, the Navi says, the Hashemayim Kisi, the heaven is my chair, and the earth is my footstool. You know, they rest the footrest. Like in first class, you know, they have the footrests. What does that mean? Hashem is sitting in the heaven. Yeah, there's a pasuk that tells me, Yosef Hashemayim Yitzchak. In Tehillim, there's a pasuk, Hashem sits in heaven and laughs. What do you mean, Hashem is sitting down over there? So what does it mean? But you have to understand, it's idiotic to say Hashem is sitting there. Like a big, Hashem is sitting down on a chair over there. Come on, it's stupid. What it means is, what does sitting mean? When you're standing, you're taller, and now you're coming down, you sit. So you're shorter than you were when you stood. You're lowered now than you were when you stood. When it says Hashemayim Kisi, it means Hashem in creating the heaven, because it's a creation, Hashem lowered himself to create the heaven. The earth is even lower. The earth is a footstool, a footrest. Meaning it's a level which is lower than but it doesn't mean Hashem's sitting up there. I mean, come on. What? Yeah.
When he saw it, the revelation of Makav, he saw revelation.
Yeah. He saw the revelation of the world of Bria.
So where did the Chokhmah of transferring the revelation into Nesher and Arya, where did that come from?
These are different revelations. Like he said before, there's Nun Yama and there's Nun Malachim that are Michal is an Eif and this is Behemoth and this is, yeah.
He saw revelation, correct? He didn't see the Nesher. He didn't see the...
He saw the picture and then he put it into words. What language is a picture in?
Farsi. No, I understand. So he saw the revelation and he made them...
Those are the words that Hashem gave him. Right.
Hashem.
Yeah. But you can't say it any other way. It's idiotic. I mean, think about it. Hashem is sitting down on a chair. He saw a throne up there. He looked up in the heaven. He saw, it's a space station, also doesn't see those thrones up there.
Yeah, but he didn't come up with the Moshiach so we can understand the nature. I mean, he came from our Moshiach.
Yes. You have a picture, and an artist describes it. Okay, an artist understands the picture, correct? Because a regular layperson doesn't understand the picture, right? Okay, you can have an X-ray. You can look at the X-ray. They don't know what they're talking about. The doctor. Oh, I see. Yeah. So again, what language is the picture speaking in? When you bring the picture into reality, you talk about it. So then, that time, the picture is speaking in English, in Hebrew, in Yiddish, maybe Farsi. Okay, it's speaking in those languages. But the picture itself is not in any language. Even when a person thinks, every person thinks, we all think with words. I mean, they're not tangible words. But every person thinks in their language. Whatever your mother tongue is, that's the language you think in.
So there was a revelation of Markaba, and Hashem put the thoughts of Arya and Shor in his head so we can understand it.
Correct. Something like that. I mean, I'm not a Navi, I never had the Nevuah.
There's no other.
That's what it means. But those words are coming from Hashem, because otherwise it could be a different word used that teaches us a lot of different things.
It has to be exact.
Yeah. That's the greatness of the Navi. The greatness of the Navi is to reveal a revelation of godliness in that particular way that Hashem told him. You can have a moron looking at a picture and describing the picture, like a moron. Okay? That's not what the picture is saying. You're saying but you're a moron, you're a fool. So you're talking, this is what the picture means to you. But that's not the reality of the picture. For that you need the expert to be able to see what is the picture actually teaching me.
Maybe.
When the Baal Shem Tov said, whatever a person sees or hears or is aware of is Hashkacha Pratis, right? This week's Parsha, Sholach. There's a din of mishpat which fish, the bird, the pelican, whatever it is, it catches, yeah? Now what does that mean? I see a phenomenon happening in the world, yeah? So I have to learn a lesson from it. What does that mean? Hashem is teaching me a lesson if you're doing your job. Hashem is showing me a lesson through this particular incident that happened. Hashem is teaching me a life lesson from this particular incident that happened. Right? Now the life lesson might not have anything to do with the incident. Hashem is showing me through a gashmistic happening that I happen to see or know about or hear about, that why am I hearing it? The Baal Shem Tov said, why does Hashem want you to hear it? Hashem didn't have to have you hear it. Why did I hear it and you didn't? Or you heard it and I didn't? The incident? Because you have to learn something from it and I don't until I hear about it. What?
Nothing.
What?
You can't judge anybody.